So I realised that, you know, I sound even more paranoid and delusional when I start talking about things like, you know, the RFID chip and the advent of thought crime. But they are real things, man. I mean, I've probably mentioned the book 1984 in another video because it was just such an important text for me to read when I was younger, because I could already see those things were almost happening. And if you look at society now, we are there, man. They're all totally happening already. In 1984, this box that you spoke about in the living room, I hope I haven't said all of this in another video. I'm just going to be very quick. Anyway, I'm going to be very quick. There's a box in the living room. It's filming everyone all the time, and it's giving propaganda, like the party approved propaganda all the time, basically, and you're not allowed to turn it off. Yeah, so basically they're constantly monitoring you, and they're constantly giving you the information that they want you to receive. And you know, we've got that anyway. We've had that for many years. It's called the television, except it doesn't film you. But the thing is, now it does, because if you've got like a smart TV, then it will have your internet integrated into that, and there'll be the webcam like what I'm looking at now, and that will be in every home as standard in the next couple of years, and it's already in each home as standard on your PC, but it will be your television. It will be stuck in your wall. Homes will be built like that. It will be online constantly. I mean, you've pretty much got this situation already with the Xbox One, right? You know, the majority of people that use that are online constantly, and so the webcam's always on, and you know, they can turn that on from the main server if they want to, believe me. You know, in fact, if you use a smartphone or tablet or something like that, and you download apps, and the apps tell you that they can you know, they can use your contact information, and they can access your webcam and things like that. And it actually says now webcam access may include filming or something like that. I haven't got the exact words to mind, but just go and look at the terms and conditions, or the explanation of those terms on any of the apps that you've got, and you'll see that basically, yeah, they are allowed to just turn your camera on and film you or record what you're saying at any time. Some of them anyway certainly have that description, and I've read that, so go and check and you will read that. So that's sort of the stage we're at. George Orwell's vision has actually arrived, and there's no doubt about that anymore, and it's just our choice really how far we're going to let it go. As I was just saying, you know, there are families trialing the RFID chip, and you know, the Rockefellers had a vision, according to a man called Aaron Russo, who was a journalist. They had a vision that everybody will have the RFID chip, and it will contain all their important information, and if anybody steps out of line, this is a quote, if anybody steps out of line, we'll turn their chip off. And that was their plan. That's a quote from a journalist called Aaron Russo, who's now died. You know, a lot of these people seem to die. You know, people that spread information, which is basically coming back to my point about me being very fearful of putting the truth out there and making videos like this, because you know, is it again delusions of grandeur? Is it paranoid persecution theory? But I don't want to be murdered, really, and I don't want to be suicided. Yeah, like Mike Rupert, he was another one, committed suicide recently. Quite convenient that he was, you know, one of the most insightful people, one of the people that gave a lot of information about CIA drug running operations out of South America into the United States of America. He gave a lot of information about that. He also gave a lot of information about theories attached to a certain event that happened about 13 years ago, almost to the day. You might be aware of what I'm talking about. And if you talk about these things in too much detail, you get killed. You commit suicide. That's what Mike Rupert allegedly did. And you know, I'm a bit frightened of this kind of thing happening to me. And the only reason, I think the only thing in my favour is that nobody watches my videos. Nobody's seen these videos. It's the only thing probably that But you know, like I say, I've got a book out there. Again, I'm not plugging it. You know, I'm not trying to do that. But I do. I fear for my life and my freedom in the long term. To be honest with you, I do really. And that's why I've been a bit reluctant to kind of follow through with these things. But with the date being what it is, and the things that I'm reading in the newspaper being what they are, it's just getting too much, you know. It's just getting too much, and you've got to say something about it. I mean, if I read another article about ISIS in the newspaper and about how we're gonna, you know, take the passports off anyone that comes back from those countries, and you know, because they're all going over there for terrorist means, and maybe some of them are, maybe some of them are doing that, and maybe they do deserve their passports taken and their travelling rights taken away. Maybe they do, I don't know, but it's not going on at all to the extent that we're led to believe. These guys, the Beatles, yeah, Jihadi John and co, cutting off men's heads. This is like a TV programme that we're watching, man. There's something going on, and it's not what we're being told about. You know, how it's all too convenient, man. Where did this group ISIS come from? Who are they? Why they've come so conveniently at a time, you know, or when we've had months and months of the newspapers telling us that we need to be frightened of local people, you know, going over to these countries and getting involved in jihad, and now suddenly we've got videos of it happening, and it's all too convenient, man. All too convenient. You know, there never was a group called Al-Qaeda. Didn't exist in the first place. It was something invented by the media. It was a database of potential names, potential people that were involved in possible terrorist activity. It was all theoretical, and it was presented to the newspapers. It was presented by the newspapers as a real threat, you know, and it's not a real threat. Same as anything happening in Syria is not a real threat. How could it possibly be a threat to you in London, but then, or in Manchester or Liverpool or Washington or California, wherever you are, you know, it just, you know, but you're just being trained to be frightened of everything like this all the time because you're easier to control in that way. And you know, there's something dark going on in the world that we perhaps should be frightened of, and we're getting all these minor distractions to keep us away from the real issue. And the issue for me is that we are a slave race. We have no choice in our future if we allow this to continue in this way. So yeah, that's why I'm frightened. That's why I'm paranoid. That's why I'm delusional. There's some of the things that concern me, but we can rise above this, I think, and we will rise above this. Yeah, if you would like to know really, you know, why I think this way and why I'm so fearful of these things, there are some good reasons. And the next video, which is going to put me at the greatest risk of all, is going to explain that in a bit more detail. But that one's coming tomorrow. And if you've got a calendar, you might have an idea what it's about. See you later.